You gotta watch the songs you sing, right?
But he's right.
Right?
He's right, no.
He had many sons.
Yeah, he's right.
He had how many sons?
11.
Many sons.
11.
Name me 3 of the sons that Abraham had. Okay, just now we're going somewhere. Okay, good.
Simeon.
4. Okay, now you name me 3. Now let us listen, please.
No. No, you're talking the next
All
story.
right, good. Let me hear you. Huh? Isaac. No, let us quiet down now. Okay, we have one Isaac. I'm looking for 3 of them. No, but somebody said many.
Benjamin. Benjamin.
Me? No, my father's name is Abraham. Huh?
Benjamin.
Oh, the song says, I am one of them and so are you. Oh, mercy. On the authority of the authority vested in me, that song is banned. Now you recognize that he had 2 sons and he liked one more than they. And then guess what happened after Isaac? Isaac had how many sons? 4. And then what happened?
Like one more than the other.
One was like more than the other. And then when that one got a son, guess what happened? He liked one more than all of the others. So you see, okay, now listen to me now. When I give you the opportunity to talk, you can talk, right? Good. But here it was that he loved Joseph. Joseph loved to dream. And God would have revealed to him, let us say, his destiny. And sometimes in life, let me just say this to you, even though God, he has charted a course out for us, we should not try to help God to make those dreams or those possibilities a reality. God is going to do it in his own time. Because of that, we know that one day Joseph, who should have been probably with his brothers, because he was 17 years at the time. Let me see, we have any 17-year-old guys here? None? Who is 17? Yes, Sarwan, right?
Dennis.
And okay, good, yes, Brandon and Dennis. So he was probably one of them. I don't know, maybe it's Sarwan, right? He has on a shirt of many, well, bright colors, psychedelic almost. Right, so let us say he was probably Joseph. He was home. The brothers were in the field. And he was about to take their meals. And guess what happened? When he got there, what his brothers did to him? They tried to sell him, they threw him a hole. They took his coat first. Okay, good. So let us put some order to it. They wanted to kill him, right? But one of the brothers said, no, let us not kill him. Right? And they decided to put him where? In a pit. That was the suggestion, so that he's going to go and rescue them rescue him after. And then they did what? They killed some animal, sprinkled the blood, took it to the father. The father believed because he saw blood. And there was nothing like DNA testing in those days. So he could not do any testing to see whether the blood was Joseph's blood or anything like that. And he wept. But instead what had happened, Joseph was sold where? You sure he was sold into slavery?
Yes.
He was sold to slavery?
They didn't care, they just was selling him.
No,
they
he wasn't sold into slavery. Remember, there were some Ishmaelite traders who bought him. Y'all are there with me, right? And then those guys, they did what? They sold him again. Yeah, man.
Yeah, they were just traders.
He went to the slave market?
Maybe.
What was the slave market like? Tell us about that. We're listening. Where you sell the slaves. Oh, by the way, let me just tell you this. Adults, I want you to, now listen to me carefully. It is important for us to make sure that we give our young people, our children, the story according to the way the Bible gives it.
You're quite right.
Because when you see, you look TBN and a few others, you see some kind of stories. Just like I saw a story there on the flood. And it's Shem, Ham, and Japhet, the three guys. You sure, right? I think it is Ham's wife. She didn't want to listen to anything Noah was saying, and she went into the tongue party with the girls. And her husband went behind her saying, "You gotta come, you gotta come." And the rain started to drizzle. This is the story, you know. The rain started to drizzle, and she didn't want to come, so the man gave her one punch, block her out,
And carry on.
throw her on his shoulder. And the rain is falling, right? The ark started thing, so he jumped up, hold up, and then push her in, and then he jumped in, right? So you imagine if our children see that story, right? So you gotta make sure we tell them the story the right way. But what happened? He found himself in Potiphar's house, right? And we know Carlton said Pharaoh, but it's Potiphar's house. And Potiphar had a beautiful wife, right? Potiphar was being blessed because of his presence there. In short, the wife made an advance at Joseph, but what Joseph did? He ran.
He left his coat.
Not his towel, please. Rape. Good. So that is what he tried to do, right? So then Joseph found himself where? He found himself in prison. And while he was in prison, what happened? He saw some, no man. He had a vision.
Even before that,
Oh, good. Yes, he interpreted the dream because those guys were cast into prison also. But let me just tell you something. You see,
And one of them was
he
supposed
was
to.
innocent. He was framed.
but even before that, Pastor,
Oh.
he did well in the prison. That the prison guard
Made him in charge.
Him in charge.
Wonderful. So you got in the story good there, right? So he was made in charge of the prison. These two guys came in here. They had a kind of plot. Not a very good plot against Pharaoh. And they were there, and the two of them had dreams the said night. And they were troubled. He asked them about it, and what happened? Anybody can remember what the dreams were? All right, no, I'm taking one by one. Yes. Something with a great story. All right, good. What was the dream?
One of them gonna put to death.
Bake some bread, put it on his head. Bird started to eat it. Trying to brush away the bird. The birds weren't moving.
It's on the TV. I see it on TV. I see it on
No, all right, good. All right, so that's not King James version or New Testament. That's TV's version, right? All right, you see some TVN. Good. All right, let me hear you.
Upstairs, the baker after the butler, his dream was he saw seven things.
No.
No.
No. That's Pharaoh.
All right.
Potiphar.
All right, yes, let me go. Okay, 1 second. Now, yes. The Jews.
Was the butler.
He had one about his Jews. He had one about his bacon coming in and he was harvesting them and that was sweet juice.
That's sweet juice.
Yeah, and he had one and then the baker had one and he had some bread and then the horse came and ate them.
All right, good. So tell me, what happened? These two guys were released from prison or not?
The baker was killed and the butler was killed.
The baker was killed
Because the bread was eaten.
because the bread was eaten. In 3 days.
So it was 3 baskets full of bread, and it was 3 clusters of grapes.
Yes.
Signifying 3 days each. In 3 days' time, Pharaoh
Something
was
had
going to
happened
recall
to-
them back to court, but the butler was going to be set free, reinstated back into his office, his original office, as being the chief butler, and the baker was going to be hanged, and the birds were going to pick at his ear.
God, wonderful.
The sales bird will eat the bread.
But the butler made a promise to Joseph. But what happened? He forgot him. And he was there in prison still. But during that period of time, something happened, right? Now, do you believe that if the butler had remembered Joseph the set time, he would have been released?
No.
But then you believe if by chance he was released, that his destiny would have gone, or his course would have taken the path that it did?
We assume it.
Now, of course, we are going to assume this, because when we look at the end, we say that probably that wasn't God's destiny for him, because he stayed there, and then something happened. Pharaoh had, was it one dream or two dreams? Or is one dream in two? Which one? Okay, now the Bible said that Pharaoh dreamed, and what he dreamt. Alright, good. Now let me take. No, I heard you a lot, Carlton. Yes. Skinny cow at the. One with corn, Okay, now the essence is this. Now let me just, let me look my time. Let me go on quickly here. The essence is that there would be 7 years of what? Plenty, and then 7 years of famine. And because Joseph was able to give interpretation to the dream, Joseph was the one who was entrusted with the responsibility of gathering grains and corns, well, grains, that's total, to make sure that in the time of famine, they will have stuff. Now, the years of plenty came, then the years of empty. Plenty, empty. So people started to come. In a distant land there in Canaan, what happened? We recognize that they were experiencing the effects of the famine. And what did Jacob do? He sent his sons where? To Egypt to gather food. Now when they got there, just imagine, at that very moment, Joseph would have recognized his brothers. But they of course did not recognize him, not necessarily because his features had changed, but they just believed that he had met his end. It so happened that it wasn't the case. They bought, and as they bought, what he did, he put their money what? Back in their sack. When they got back home, what happened? Huh? Yes, before that, yes. He accused them of being spies. And because they were accused of being spies, they said, no, what? Our father, he has how many? 12 sons, but one is not. Yes, he said the other one is there, so there were 10. And Joseph continued to say that what? You guys are what? Spies. They pleaded, he said no. So then he said to them that they should do what? Go and do what?
Bring the younger. Simeon.
Yes, the 9, but before that, what he said that you need to bring your brother. So they said, no, our father will not. He said he's going to keep one, right? As what? Security. They went back, they discussed with their father, going in short, because this is not the essence what I want to get to us. They discussed in essence, bam, bam, bam. The father said no, but then they were empty again. So he finally had to send his youngest son. What was the name of the guy? Benjamin. Good, wonderful. And when they got there, what happened? Joseph was sad or happy to see him? Why was he happy? Who was Benjamin to him? The other's his brother?
By his mother's side. Same mother.
Half, but the same mother. So he was happy. Where was his mother at this time? How she died? All right, good, excellent. You guys know this part of the story, good. All right, so, okay, Benjamin finally got there. And then after, what happened? What happened after that? Okay, the whole soap opera story and so on. And then soap opera. It's an opera story, yes, that's it. You know, the Bible is nice, you know. When you read these stories, it's so, it's so entertaining, you know. Just see the drama there. Because he is there, he is now seen his youngest brother. But then after he fed them and so on, he sent them away, right? He sent all of them away?
Yeah. He sent
He sent all of them away, but he set
No
him
man, he
up.
sent them away.
But he set
But he
him.
placed his cup where? In the mouth of
Benji the youngest.
God. So then as they were going, what happened? He sent his guys to search them, found them, brought them back. At that time, the whole drama business good. And then he revealed himself, right? He revealed himself. After he revealed himself, he sent for his father and all the others. So it was about 70 of them who left Canaan and they went into Egypt. So they were all there. They were enjoying themselves. They were multiplying. And God's favor was upon them. But then the Bible says that what happened to Jacob? Jacob died. And after Jacob died, he asked that his body should be buried where? With his father's. And after that whole scenario was done, follow me here now, they returned into Egypt. Now that they were there in Egypt, the ghosts came back. This haunting of their past. They remembered what they did to Joseph. And they were of the opinion that it is because of the father's presence that Joseph was showing them what? Kindness. Let me just say to us here, young people and all of us, that whatever we do, it is going to come back in some way or some form to bring a haunting effect to us. Some way or another, that is going to happen. You see, God in his mercies, at times he allows our past mistakes and so on not to come and to haunt us, but should we continue, they have this way of coming to destroy us. So these guys were here now, their minds are traumatized, and the Bible, it believed, the Bible said it's a servant, but when you actually do the study of the passage, they would have sent Benjamin, who was of course his brother, the one he loved, to say that, listen, when our father died, this is what he said. But remember that when the father was dying, he called them all together. And if by chance he wanted to communicate that message to Joseph, he would have said it to him what? Directly. But Joseph had actually forgotten about that. Young people, I want us to be cognizant of one thing. I'll say again, that what you do, what you look, what you play, where you go, it can affect you in a few years from now. So they were staring the ghost in the face. And as I said here, the ghost, and if you check any dictionary, look for the definition, it's going to tell you any haunting effect that would come upon you. It's traumatizing them. But guess what happened? Joseph, he had already forgiven them. That is what he did. He had already forgiven them, and he was not about to allow that, or he would not take revenge upon them, because he said that what you did, you meant it for evil, but what? God meant it for what?
Good.
God meant it for good. You see, sometimes God moves in ways that we just cannot trace. His mathematics, we can't understand. His equations, we cannot bring an end to it, because he is God. And of course, we are told that his ways, they're what? They're what? His ways are what from our ways? Yes. I mean, it's like as far as the east is from the west and the north is from the south. But there's one thing that we know for sure, is that his ways, they're the best way. His movement, it's the best movement. We may not see the end result. We may not see anything positive coming out of it. Because for Joseph, of course, being thrown in a pit, and then from a pit, being cast into prison, he could not see anything good coming out of that. But as one preacher said, that hadn't he been in the pit, he could not have gone into the prison. And had he not been in the prison, he would not have been able to go where? In the palace. Amen. So that's the way God charted his course. And because he saw the way God moved for him and with him, he forgave his brothers, and his forgiveness was a thorough forgiveness. What I want us to gather here today, one, as I started, we have to be very careful in the way we operate with each other. Those who have children, the way you operate with your children. Khadija, it's time to wake up now. All right, it's time to wake up now. We're closing here. Because favoritism, being partial, prejudice, it can affect individuals significantly. Because that is what happened in the case of from Abraham, and it got straight there to Jacob. And because of that, the jealousy that was created by the brothers of Joseph, he was sold, and then he found himself in slavery. And now we see that God has our path mapped out. And in order for us to attain our destiny, sometimes there may be a detour. You see, God's promise to Abraham a long time ago is that he is going to make that place where he is going to be a very fertile place. But it was not that way. God, in essence, had to take them on a different course for them to get back to that place. So God's movement may take time, but you know his movement is sure. And remember that once God has his stamp of authority upon your life, the devil cannot do anything to destroy it. Because every plot of the enemy, it failed. But remember that you also need to be someone of integrity. Because that is what Joseph was. He was a man of integrity. And because of that, God rewarded him. And when his brothers got to that point where they thought that, listen, he's going to get back at them, he said no. So it says to us that we should not try to get back at people for the evil or any negative that they would have done to us. Let us just remember that everything is in the hands of God, and he will, at his own time, work things out for us. Pathfinders, God bless you. Others, God bless you.